When I was a prosecutor, I saw some pretty good stuff. Pretty nasty stuff. But interesting stuff. Interesting. Death, murder. Believe it or not, the most mind-boggling was car accidents, vehicular homicide stuff. That was like war. That was really something. But what affected me the most, what absolutely stopped me dead in my tracks, was evidence involving children. And sometimes the evidence that we would see would not be pictures, no color, no glossies, none of that, but just the cold report of a pathologist or a pediatrician or somebody who is just describing, for purposes of your own sensibility, for purposes of your own peace of mind. I won't tell you what I saw, but there was one in particular that I read, and it was a medical examiner, though they would not just deal with the deceased, but they would investigate forensically children. And one in particular, just the cold, sterile, clinical terminology of what they did to an infant from the child's father. Infant. And something in that kind of clicked. It's that part that, because up until then, as a prosecutor, I had realized, sometimes people have problems, sometimes maybe they're drug addicts, sometimes maybe they themselves had issues. Hurt people. You've heard that before. And I would bet you anything, first, that the amount of damage that was done to Justin Bieber is incalculable. And what was probably done to Diddy prior to that was incalculable. You see, normal people, when I see normal, I mean people who live regular lives, go through regular, boyfriend, girlfriend, adolescence, experimentation, the usual sexual trajectory, experimentation, normally find themselves later on in life, at best, maybe, when I say at best, you'll understand, maybe a little kinky or a little whatever. When an adult shows a penchant, a propensity, a predisposition, a preference for children, young boys, it is a psychological Gordian knot, the likes of which you can't believe. And it's not to call it pedophile. I hate that term because it misses the point. We're not talking about attraction. Chronophilia is the idea that people are attracted based upon ages. There's ephebophilia and hebophilia and pedophilia, and there's gerontophilia. There's older people and younger people, paraphilia. There are names to describe every aspect, every development, every aspect of it. The issue becomes critical when it traverses from interest to objectification and the actual harm that is exacted upon a human being. These people know no rehabilitation. They are so scarred. They are so demented. They are so gone that they have to be removed somehow. And I'm not talking about particular penalty. I'm maybe theoretically, but they have to be removed from society. I cannot imagine what Justin Bieber is going through. I cannot imagine what Justin Bieber is imagining, thinking, dealing with, when I see what people did to him in front of everybody, playing with him, touching him, grabbing him, it wasn't appropriate. And nobody did anything. Nobody did anything. And now he's going to have a child? He's going to have a child? I never like saying this. I don't like saying this because I think sometimes when people say it, I think they do it in a way where they actually want terrible things to happen. But I'm going to say it. Do not be surprised if one day you find out that Mr. Bieber perhaps is no more. For whatever reason. And the fingers will fly, the fingers will be pointed, and the accusations will be made because, and again, I'm somebody standing back. I'm standing outside of the stadium, listening to the crowd and trying to guess the score. I have no insight into this. But I am telling you, I look at Britney Spears, I look at so many of these children, especially in Hollywood, and how they have been destroyed. And then later on, they spiral into self-harm, addiction, covered with tattoos, they look older, they seem older, they look like adults, but there is a scar, a permanent, indelible scar on them. It's always there. It's never removed. You can't fix it. You can't tweak it. There's no makeup. There's no emollient. Nothing. It is like nothing anybody has ever seen before. That's what we're talking about right now. Do not be surprised if one day you just find out, oh, did you see what happened? Oh, it's terrible. Yes, overdose. Oh, overdose. Oh, okay. Nobody will look. And nobody will ever question. Nobody will ever look at it and say, are you sure? Can we see this? Oh, no, it's fine. Don't worry about it. It's fine. And that goes doubly sure for Mr. Combs. If Sean Combs were to just disappear now, physically, from this planet, a lot of people would be able to sleep a lot easier. A lot of investigations would come to an end. A lot of worry would be assuaged and eliminated. They're setting this guy up. It is so obvious. You got a clown for a lawyer. He's facing something. This isn't just about freak-offs. This is the linchpin. This is the connective tissue to a situation that is so depraved with names so big you can't imagine. This is not just a legal matter, my friends. Listen very carefully to what I'm saying. And Mr. Bieber, you in particular, all eyes on you. All eyes on you. And the leeches and the parasites and the people who say, oh, you're a meal ticket. You're our guy. You live in a world of fantasy. And that little boy who was hurt and harmed, and God knows what he went through, is still there, layered on with other bark, so to speak, rings, age rings, and the like. I've got to be very careful how we say this, because we must understand we're not here, we're not there. But I would bet, from what I know and what I have seen, I will bet anything that if you really knew the story of what this young man went through, you wouldn't be able to sleep at night. Because you know what? I'll bet you he doesn't either. I'll bet you he doesn't either. I would be honored if you subscribe to this channel. I take this very seriously. Please like this video. I'm sorry to say this, to be so bold. But for us to get the message out, we need you to help us. And I think you know how the metrics and everything work. And now, my dear friend, I ask you if you could and you would comment as you see fit.